remember, we are now adapting our model for a monopolist. And in the past, we've done supply and demand, so on and so forth. And we have to remember two things. When we did a supply curve, quantity supplied was a function of price, ceteris paribus. And when we did our perfectly competitive firm, we treated the firm as a price taker. And so a firm who is in a perfectly competitive situation has a supply curve where how much they supply depends on the price of the good, ceteris paribus, and the ceteris paribus we explained through our cost curves, what they faced in terms of technology, productivity, cost of inputs, things like that. So here is the very first thing to remember. A monopolist, by virtue of being a monopolist, is not a price taker. They are the only game in town. They choose the price. Amazon chooses the price. Microsoft chooses the price. They don't just accept a market price. They dictate the market price. What that means is that this thing called a supply curve no longer exists for a monopolist. It doesn't exist because supply curve describes what do you do if you're a price taker, somebody gives you a price, what do you do? And if you're a monopolist, you're like, nah, I'm not a price taker, I'm a price maker. I don't accept the market price. I choose the market price. So the first thing that's going to happen is demand remains the same, supply is going to change dramatically, especially because there is literally no supply curve for a monopolist. It doesn't exist. There is no function that says how much will you supply at what price, because the monopolist is going to write back to you and say, I will choose the price. You don't tell me what the price is and how much I will supply. I will tell you what the price is. Now, this doesn't mean the monopolist doesn't have a decision-making process. It just means that process looks different for a monopolist than it does for a perfectly competitive firm. So from the monopolist perspective, they actually do have similarities with other firms. We're not doing monopsony. So on the cost side, in terms of productivity, cost curves, input costs and so on, they're pretty much same as any other firm. On the revenue side, they are different than any other firm. So they're still profit maximizers. They still face the question of costs, same as everyone else. But we're going to have to adjust all of the theory we learned about revenues. So to remind you, profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Still the same. A monopolist is a firm. It's a profit maximizing firm. It's going to maximize profits, which is, it's going to maximize that distance between total revenue minus total cost. Still that same. What's different? This is the same. That is the same. This I have to adjust because the monopolist is no longer price taker. So, monopolist is a profit maximizer. Like any other firm, it's going to maximize profit. It's going to maximize that distance between the two. On total cost side, we're going to treat it like any other firm. There's no monopsony. We're not going to integrate too many things at the same time, one thing at a time. So as a firm, even if you're Tesla, and you got a monopoly on electric cars of a certain kind or whatever, when it comes to the inputs you need on the sort of high-end elements you need for those batteries, you're just one firm among many competing for those elements. It's not like Tesla privately owns those mines. So there's no monopsony. And this is the key, there's no monopsony. So total cost is not going to change. What is going to change is total revenue, because they are no longer price takers. So we now have to rethink total revenue, and then we are going to have to rethink where and how profit maximization works, given that total revenue is different. So let's do that.